What is tone? I think the simplest way I can describe it is the way a story feels. And you would say, what the hell does that mean? How do I possibly measure that? Those are fair questions. But it is true. Tone is how you feel. Does the writing make you tense? Or does it relax you? Do you feel dread? Or are you lighthearted? Without me telling you about tone, you know how art makes you feel, how books make you feel. But as a creator, as a writer, creating and managing tone is an important part of any story. And that's less obvious. How do you create a tone? How do you manage that tone? That's what today's video is about. Like a lot of things in writing, creating a tone is a product of layers. The first layer is all surface. It's your story. What is your story? Is it a tense courtroom drama? Is it a light romance? Is it a dark and introspective look at a great man? Each of those stories already implies a tone. How serious is your story? How realistic? Is it silly or grave? Who are your characters? Who is your main perspective character? Their personality will have a lot of influence on the tone of the novel. If they're upbeat and snarky, the tone will feel the same. If they're quiet and introspective, the tone will match. So, obviously, what the story's about, who the characters are, that stuff matters. Matters a lot. But it's not everything. The second layer is pace. How fast is your story? How quickly do things happen? Is it full of twists and turns? If it is, it's naturally going to add tension, add stakes, just by the nature of its speed. When things are happening slower, it will relax your readers, and vice versa. How long are your chapters? Do they end with big cliffhangers? How dramatic are your story beats? The third layer is violence. The amount of violence in your story has a profound effect on the tone. The amount of violence and how you describe it and how it affects your characters. How realistic is the violence? Do your characters bounce back like Bugs Bunny? Or are they incontrovertibly changed? The amount of realism matters. And as we go deeper, the effects are subtler. Diction. Word choice. Is your story full of big $5 words? Or on the other hand, full of cursing? Or both? When your book is full of vulgarity, it makes it feel a certain way. Sentence structure. This ties back into pacing. Do you have short, punchy sentences like Hemingway? Or long, evocative prose that slows down the reader and drowns them in detail like Proust? And that spirals out into paragraph length and chapter length. All those affect the tone. Comedy. Is your book funny? And what kind of humor? Silly dad jokes? Gallows humor? Wordplay? Dry sarcasm? All of them affect the tone in different ways. But laughter in general will lighten your tone. Those are the big ones, in my mind. And I'm sure if you ask someone else, they'd prioritize other things. And they wouldn't be wrong. Everything affects tone. After you've established a tone, you must manage the tone. What does that mean? Think of your book like a ride at an amusement park. Now maybe it's a roller coaster, or maybe it's the smooth train ride around the outskirts of the park. But your tone, that's the track. Or at least it runs alongside it. If your tone shifts, your passengers are going to feel it. If it's very sudden, it might break their necks. So, if you're a third of the way through your story and you've established a tone and you're cruising along and then suddenly you shift the tone radically, you might lose your audience. If your story up until this point was grounded and realistic, and then introduces fantasy elements, your tone might buckle at the changes. Your story might fall apart. Your ride, so to speak, might go off the tracks. Maintaining tone is about understanding your story and keeping your tone consistent with everything else. Now, tonal shifts are not wrong. In fact, they can be used to great effect if you roadmark them. If you know you'll be shifting the tone dramatically later on, you dip your toe into it early. Give your readers a taste, so when it arrives, it doesn't feel entirely sudden. Extreme tonal shifts can work for your story, but tread with caution. Now, you might ask, how do I monitor this? How do I know exactly what my tone is? That's the hardest thing to answer. My honest advice is to pay attention to what you're writing. Trust your instincts. And when you're reading, engage with it. Track the tone of other books and take note of when and how they shift and how you react to it. Do you like it or not? Carry those feelings with you when you write. Any more questions about tone? Leave them in the comments below, and I'll do a follow-up video answering them. I'm Robbie Dorman. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really liked it, click subscribe. Thanks for watching. And until next time, be seeing you.